Emulating the complexity of mixed martial arts in video game form is not easy, and for the most part the first two EA Sports UFC games have done an admirable job of it. UFC 3 is certainly the best game yet in the series thanks to its fantastic overhaul of the striking system and a much improved goal-oriented career mode. Aside from the sleazy microtransaction-packed Ultimate Team mode, its best moments capture the excitement and depth of an MMA fight. UFC's biggest change to its exciting fights is the reworked striking system. The right stick now allows you to freely sway to dodge and duck under punches. This leads to a very dynamic striking system that, when combined with the fact that you can now throw any punch or kick while moving, feels much closer to the actual UFC. It's super satisfying to be able to pick up on an opponent's tendencies, like throwing a lot of straight jabs, and punish them accordingly. Even if it sometimes looks janky, the stand-up in UFC 3 is one of the best in the combat sports genre. It requires a ton of thought and stamina management, skillful use of your fighter's combos, and a careful balance of offense and defense. It would have been nice to see the same attention paid to revamping the ground game. More feedback with regards to whether you were too slow on a transition, don't have enough stamina, or press the wrong direction would go a long way, because as it is, it's hard to tell what went wrong when you lose a position. Thankfully, there's stand and bang mode and knockout mode, the latter of which now has commentary from Snoop Dogg, if you want to keep the fight on the feet.
You inside knockout mode, so you don't know what you're gonna get. But you know what's gonna happen? Somebody gonna get knocked out.
UFC 3's new career mode is a big improvement over prior years. The big thing this time around is that there's a greater emphasis on how you want to spend your time in between fights. First, you choose a gym, each with its own cost of membership and focus, whether it be boxing, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or other forms of martial arts. Of course, resources are limited, and better gyms require more cash per week of training, leading to tough decisions before you even have to decide how to spend your time in that gym. Every week you're given 100 points to spend on either upgrading your character, learning a new move, promoting your next fight, or learning about your opponent. Each choice comes with its own risk, reward, and cost associated to it. It's great that these meaningful decisions affect the course of your career and how effective you are in the next fight. The problem is that the difficulty spike once you start getting into title contention is just straight up unfair. Stand-up fighters feel like they have impenetrable defense, and ground-based fighters make it feel impossible to get back up. I often felt like I was only winning when it let me. Take the fight online and you'll find the usual set of options. Online play has been mostly fine in my experience, though the frustrations with the ground game are even worse here because you're left with even less feedback about why your transition blocks aren't going through. It does well enough with the fundamentals, but some of the stuff around it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. UFC 3 brings back the controversial Ultimate Team mode, which is full of loot boxes and microtransactions and feels like a free-to-play mobile game. The only way to have any choice in what fighters or moves you add to your collection is through the item scouting shop, which has an inventory that refreshes every day. You can pay UFC points to lock in an item in a certain slot, but there's no way to pay for any particular card other than paying an absurd amount of coins. To be fair, there are a ton of ways that you can earn coins in packs, but the rate at which you can afford new packs is frustratingly slow and customization is convoluted and random. Fortunately, all of that is effectively quarantined to this mode. That's appropriate because many people will want to stay away from it. EA went back to the gym with UFC 3 to work on many of the weaknesses that had the previous two games struggling to find their footing. A fantastic new striking system and a much improved career mode lead the charge, but UFC 3 is still hamstrung by a cumbersome ground game, weird collision issues, and a straight up terrible Ultimate Team mode. For more punching and kicking with a few extra fireballs, check out our reviews of Dragon Ball FighterZ, Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, and Tekken 7. And for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.